Hey, very good morning, and we are coming to you live once again from Prineville, Oregon. Life Song Books and
Gifts.
Thank you. Life Song Books and Gifts here in Prineville. Kim Denfield, thank you very much for allowing us to use your store. And you know, today they're having 20% off on everything in the store: books, cards, everything. So come on down and check it out. And again,
Snazzy shirts.
Snazzy shirts. We might model one or two before the
Bibles.
end of the broadcast. Yeah. Hey, it's Friday, TGIF. God made Fridays for those of us who love the weekends. So thank you for being with us. We're having a lot of fun here in Prineville. Steve and Ronnalee Campbell are with us today, and the theme of this morning's show is going to be our trip to New Zealand. And first of all, we want to thank everyone who supported the trip by donating and buying raffle tickets. And we have a winner. Hank Moss of Prineville won a guitar. Now, we were going to be able to build a custom double neck guitar just like Steve has here, but Hank wants something different, doesn't he?
Yes.
What is it? What did Hank finally end up getting?
Yeah, he wants a dobro.
What's a dobro?
A dobro is a resonator guitar. It's made to be played laying flat on your lap, so like a steel guitar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with a slide. Yeah.
Does it sound that country twang sound?
Yeah, country, or you can blues it up, or I've heard people play all kinds of different styles on the dobro.
Wow,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing what it sounds like after you get it made.
He wants
Thank you for doing that.
He wants it cocobolo, just like back of my guitar. He wants it just like that.
That's beautiful.
We'll see if we can find him the wood that's real close to that.
How long did it take you to make that double neck?
I have about 160 hours. Part of it was designing. This was a prototype.
Yeah.
So
this is serial number 1.
yes.
Sounds beautiful. Hey, we also want to thank everybody who came to the concert at Eastside Church. And great concert turnout. Was awesome. And man, I don't know what to tell you, but thank you for everyone who bought raffle tickets for the guitar. Hank, congratulations. But we had a lot of people step forward, and we needed to have some money to go on this trip. At the last of it, you know, God's timing isn't our own timing.
Yeah.
And we were praying, and God used you to make this trip possible. And so we just want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Now, when we go to New Zealand, we're going to talk a little bit about what we want to do over there in New Zealand. And we're also going to have some music this morning from Steve and Ronnalee, live from Prineville, Oregon. Have you missed the live?
Dark 30.
At Dark 30. Don't you love these morning shows? And if you missed the live webcast, you can catch it online on our website, tjn1.tv or eagle1.tv, or the newest one is evmpulse.tv. So I hope you got that all down. We'll repeat it later on in the show. So, Friday, and we're going to be leaving for New Zealand on November 1st. We're going to be gone for 2 weeks. We had initially planned to go to Christchurch, but because of some scheduling issues and some other scheduling challenges, and money is one of them, we're not going to Christchurch this time. However, we will be going to Christchurch in the future. So this time we're going to be going to a small town called Whitianga. Now, if you're not familiar with New Zealand, Whitianga is about 3 hours south of Auckland. Auckland is in the top third of New Zealand. And Whitianga is 3 hours south of Auckland and the North Island. There's some beautiful areas around Whitianga. If you've seen the movie Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, the one where the train is going through the train station and the tiles are flying off the walls, and then it dissolves into this beach scene where they walk through this cave. That's Cathedral Cove. And that's near Whitianga, and we're going to be going there. We're going to be doing some beach ministry at the place where Aslan walked through in the Cathedral Cove, where they filmed that part of Prince Caspian. So we're looking forward to that. We're going to be singing in a church in Whitianga, a couple services, and then we're going to be doing some street ministry. We're going to be singing on the streets and sharing Jesus Christ with people in Whitianga, and there's some small communities around there we'll be ministering. My wife is a Kiwi, New Zealand. Hi, honey. Hope you're watching this morning. She's in New Zealand right now helping arrange the trip. So we're going to be doing a lot of smaller audiences, a lot of smaller outreaches, because she has a heart for us to go to the smaller churches where usually they don't get a lot of outside ministry coming from the States. So we just want to go and share the love of Jesus Christ in beach ministry. You know, it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. So we're going to be carrying our cross on the beaches of New Zealand, talking about Jesus Christ. Seriously, though, it is a country that is not as open to Christianity as the United States. But there are some people that just have a heart for the Lord, and Jesus said, "I've come to seek and save that which is lost." And we're also given the mandate of the Great Commission to go and make disciples of all nations. So what we want the folks in New Zealand to understand is that we're coming alongside the local church. We want to be fellow servants with the other believers in New Zealand and just share our testimony. Steve and Ron Lee will share their testimony in song. Do you realize that these two folks from Prineville's Gems, have written 75 songs about life experiences? So I often wonder sometimes if they meet you in the grocery store, if they talk to you for 5 minutes and they think, I'm going to write a song about this person.
Could happen.
And then maybe next time they run into you, they'll say, well, I wrote a song about you, and maybe Steve will whip out his guitar and they'll start singing it. I'm I'm giving you a hard time. But seriously, I have never met people that whip out songs as fast as these folks do, and they're amazing songs. If you missed the concert at Eastside Church, that was last Saturday night?
Saturday.
It was last Saturday night. I tell you, the Prineville area has some very, very gifted musicians. Mm-hmm. I was very blown away. Any of those folks could have been on the radio, easily. The song, the content, the tone of voice, the music, it was amazing. It was a great concert. And you attended, a couple hundred of you, and you really helped make this trip possible to New Zealand. Mm-hmm. So we want to thank you very much for allowing us to go. So we're going to talk a little bit more about New Zealand and what our heart is for that country and what we want to do over there. But I think we'd like to have a song right now, if we could, from Steve and Ronald Lee, here live from Lifesong Books and Gifts here in Prineville. I wanted to say New Zealand. Here in
Not yet.
It's early. We are here in Prineville at Lifesong Books and Gifts, and it's 20% off everything in the store today. Cards. We'll model some shirts here in just a minute. And Kim, thank you very much. The store normally opens at 10 o'clock.
10 to 6.
10 to 6, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. But of course, we're here a little bit early, broadcasting live, and this is one of our Prineville locations. And Kim, thank you very much for that. So, let's have some music.
This life is a gift to you, though it won't always turn out like you want it to. Some things will happen you cannot explain. You cannot see the rainbow without the rain. Let the love of the Father rain down on you. Let His mercy cover all you're going through. Now I know this is hard, but He sees it too. So let His precious love rain down on you. And this gift is life to you. It is oh so rare. Those who find it are few, and I can't love. It shines through the darkest night. It comes from above. Let the love of the Father rain down on you. Let His mercy cover all you're going through. Now I know this is hard, but He sees it too. So let His precious love rain down on you. Let the love of the Father rain down on you. Let His mercy cover all you're going through. Now I know this is hard, but He sees it too. So let His precious love rain down. Just let His precious love rain down. Let His precious love rain down on you. Oh, let it rain.
That's a beautiful song. Oops. This is live, folks.
Unedited.
Unedited. You see it as it happens. Rain Down on You is the name of that song, isn't
Let It Rain.
Let It Rain. Can you tell us the backstory on that? Where did that song come from?
Oh, about 3.5 years ago now, our daughter-in-law, Jeannie, her best friend died suddenly. She was 26 years old, and they thought that she had bronchitis, and by the time they figured out that she had a blood clot in her lung, it was too late. And unbeknownst to me, when I wrote the song, it's kind of hard to write a song for someone that you know is a songwriter too, and Jeannie's a songwriter. And I just had all these words and stuff coming to me, and it was raining at the time too, and it doesn't rain a whole lot in Prineville like that. It was just like a Portland rain on the high desert, and it just all came to me suddenly, and I shared it with her the next day, and she was at home, and just her emotions were all about rain as well. She said it just felt like it was raining inside and outside, and so that's the one that she comes and sings with us sometimes too, and Chad still performs with us, although he does his own thing too.
So for those of us who are not musically gifted, writing a song like that's a beautiful song. So you have a life experience, and it's very emotional. You know, you're thinking about someone who's died, someone you love, and then you're having to pour your soul out on a piece of paper and then write it and figure out how that melody goes together and so on and so forth. Is that a difficult process, especially with all the emotions that are going on?
Sometimes it's a little like ironing, sharpening iron.
Yeah.
Iron, as the scripture says, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be a little that way between us as we write. It clashes sometimes, and then sometimes it just all comes together. I mean, without
Steve's never hit you with the guitar, has he?
Nope.
You've never bopped him with a microphone?
I've considered it.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's another song coming up. Maybe. That could be a fun one. So, you've written 75 songs.
Ish. Yeah.
Like a little more.
We haven't really numbered them.
Every time I run into you, it's like, well, Dave, we're writing another song. It's like, man, I have a hard time writing a grocery list. And every time I see you guys, it's like, we're writing another song. We drove over to Bend today, and on the way, we're writing another song. And I'm just amazed. I am blown away.
Well,
And
to be
the
honest,
songs
we are
beautiful.
too. Sometimes it's overwhelming, and we're so thankful that He's chosen to use us this way.
Wow, and one of your latest songs, if not the latest song, is "Clap Your Hands." What's the name of that one?
Wake Up.
Wake Up.
Wake up.
Wake Up. That's I think you wrote that, or in the process of writing that. I stayed with them in Prineville while I was doing advance work for the Freedom Team. And I think you were working on that song at that point about a month and a half ago.
Yep.
Time flies when you're having fun. But it's a fun song. It's one of those audience involvement songs where you just kind of tap your toe and sing right along. Now, these songs that you're hearing this morning, and we might go a little bit long with this segment because we've got some really amazing music to listen to, but Steve bought a portable amp, and we can put the batteries in it and take it on the streets of New Zealand and sing this music. You know, God says that he inhabits the praises of his people. And one of the ways that we praise God is through music. David was a worshiper of God, and David sang songs. He was gifted in the harp and lyre, and he worshiped before his God. He had a heart. In fact, David, even though I was just listening to a story about David on the radio this morning, Wayne Cadero of Honolulu, a sermon that KNLR was talking about this morning. And he was talking about David and the fact that he made some mistakes, but he had a teachable or correctable heart. And I think there's a message in there for all of us, is that we make mistakes, but we're willing to be taught. We're willing to be corrected. And one of the things I love about David is he was a worshiper. If you've ever heard me sing, you know I cannot sing, but I love worship music. And just love the music of Steve and Ronald Lee Campbell. So we're going to be taking this portable amp on the streets of New Zealand and just singing worship songs to God and to the crowd. One time at a market in New Zealand, in Nelson, New Zealand, where I lived there for 9 months, there was they have what's called busking. Now, busking is where you open the guitar case and you play for money. You see that every so often in the United States, but it's very prevalent in New Zealand. It's just part of the culture. So we're going to do busking. We're not going to do it specifically for money, but we're going to do it to encourage the people and to just share Jesus with them. But one time in this market, there was a Maori vocalist. Pacific Islanders are big guys, and this guy was a big guy, big booming voice, and he had 200 people just gathered around him in this marketplace and listened to him sing. So there's an audience there to be reached through the love of Christ and through the music of the Campbells. We'll be ministering in some small churches. We'll be ministering hopefully in some markets where on the weekend merchants come together and they sell potted plants and arts and crafts and things out of their garden. And we'll be among them singing worship songs to God. And we'll just set up on the street corner. And so if you're in Whitianga, that's spelled Whitinga, we're going to give you a little New Zealand lesson today. The WH is pronounced F, or Whitianga, or Whangarei. So if you go over to New Zealand and you see a WH, you'll make them think you know what you're talking about if you pronounced it like Whitianga instead of Whitianga. So we'll be in Whitianga. And I don't know if we'll make it to Whangarei, but we're not going to make it to Christchurch this time. But next time we're going to go. We do plan on going to New Zealand several times. It's a country that God's put on my heart, especially for the youth of New Zealand. And the next time we go, we're going to take a Christian rock band, possibly their son. Chad Campbell. And we're going to minister. My hope is that we can take Steve and Ron Lee again and then take a youth outreach. And so we'd have kind of a two-pronged approach to ministry over there. We'd have the music that I like to listen to, because it is all about me. Just joking, just a joke. But we also want to reach the youth. And Chad has a band called Unbranded. And they are open for bookings, I assume.
Yes, they are.
Okay. And if you want to get a hold of Chad and Unbranded and hear his music, we need to put some of that on TJN, on the radio station. We already have the Campbell's music on our radio station. We need to put some of Chad's music on. So pray about the next trip to New Zealand, because we definitely want to reach the youth. There was one point where I was asked to come over and be a youth pastor in New Zealand, and God didn't open the doors then. But we do want to reach the youth, to give them hope. New Zealand does not have a lot of jobs for the youth, And youth, there are a lot of youth that get involved in alcohol and drugs, and there's just not a lot for them to do in New Zealand because it's a small country. We want to go over there and share the hope and love that is Jesus Christ, and do it in a way that sometimes you can preach a message in music. One of the things I love about music is that in the days of the Bible, in the days of the Bible, a lot of times the worshipers went ahead of the army of Israel. The worship singers were head of the army. Would you guys like to be ahead of the army? We're going to battle, and we'll put Steve and Ronald Lee there in front
On
of
the
us.
front lines.
On the front lines. Why is that? Because God inhabits the praises of his people. And as they were going to battle, the presence of God was there because the worship was there. I think there's a message there for us. So we're preaching the gospel, and we're doing it through song, and we're going to be doing a lot of that in New Zealand with beach ministry, busking ministry on the streets, and singing in some churches and just looking for opportunities. There's going to be some jam sessions where Steve and Ronald Lee are going to be visiting with local musicians in Whitianga and some of the smaller communities. So keep us in prayer as we go out there, that the Holy Spirit will go before us and prepare the way, and we just want to share our hearts with God. So again, thank you for helping us go on this trip. And we'd like to have at least 2 more songs. So what's next on the playlist?
Well, this one's called Use Your Voice, and it we didn't write it as per se a political type of thing, but that's the way it's been taken. So you just take it however it works for you. The way that we intended it was the decision for Jesus, because we can feel it in our heart, but if we don't confess it with our mouth, we're only halfway there.
Okay.
So it's called
Voice.
Use Your Voice.
There we go.
We all have a choice to make, or it will be made for us. We could sing the solo line or be part of the chorus. Which side of the street will you walk on? Either right or left, speak truth or a lie, and be hot or cold, there is no in between. If you don't want to lose your choice, use your voice. We all have a choice to make, to walk by faith or unbelief. One will bring the sweetest peace, the other deepest grief. So which side of the street will you walk on? Either right or left, speak truth or a lie, be hot or cold, there is no in between. If you don't want to lose your choice, use your voice. And all of heaven waits to hear your solitary voice. It is with your heart you believe, but with your mouth you make your choice. So which side of the street will you walk on? Either right or left, speak truth or a lie, and be hot or cold, there is no in between. If you don't want to lose your choice, use your voice. Come on and make some noise, use your voice.
Use Your Voice, Stephen Runnelly Campbell, live from Lifesong Books and Gifts, Christian bookstore here in Prineville, Oregon, and we're broadcasting, webcasting live today. Again, I thank you to Kim Denfeld for allowing us to come into her store, and we've been here 3 or 4 times already. It's going to be one of our Prineville locations when we come to Prineville, and I think we've been to Prineville more than we've been to any other city.
Woo-hoo.
So we're doing our part to put, yay Prineville, we're doing our part to put Prineville on the map. We were supposed to be in Corvallis today, at Oregon State University. We had a scheduling issue with the folks at Oregon State. We didn't give them enough lead time to put something together. We do want to go to Oregon State and Corvallis in the future. So keep posted to our website, tjn1.tv and eagle1.tv and evmpulse.tv. And we'll be going to Corvallis, Eugene, and other cities around the state. In the future, we'll be going to, in fact, when we're in New Zealand, we won't be doing any live webcasting from New Zealand, but we will file reports. And we're going to use a flip cam. And what that means is we're going to do some video reports, post them to our website, and they can be up to an hour long. So we're going to be doing some reports from New Zealand. So we'll interview some people, talk about the culture in New Zealand, and check us out on our website. You can see the 3 player windows at the bottom, and just keep checking those. We're also going to set up a Twitter account and kind of keep you updated on what's going on with the outreach in the land of the long white cloud, which is what the early settlers called New Zealand. The land of the kiwi bird, which is beautiful country, the land of Lord of the Rings, and land of beautiful people. And it's New Zealand, and we're very, very appreciative and humbled to be going down there, and humbled that you have made it possible for us to go. So, Stephen Runnelly, I've done a lot of sharing about New Zealand, so when you pray about the New Zealand trip and think about it, what is God putting on your heart?
We are just so overwhelmed to even have this opportunity. It wasn't something that we sought after. Dave just kind of showed up in front of our house in a motorhome and said, "Do you want to go to New Zealand?"
Be careful, I can come to your house next.
And it really wasn't anything that we'd really given a lot of thought to, missions, because we help other people go on missions. We don't really go on missions. And
you stay home and bake cookies and make songs.
And watch our 2-year-old twins.
Yes.
But it's just a really exciting thought for me.
Uh-huh.
It's on the other side of the world, and we'll see even a different sky, the Southern Cross.
Yeah.
And that is amazing. But even more amazing than that is God's body is alive and active everywhere. And we've just gotten a little glimpse of that in the places that we've been able to go here in the United States. And thinking about going halfway around the world and getting to fellowship and share our faith with fellow believers, but also being able to introduce him to someone else.
On the street.
Yeah.
Doing street ministry. I remember I was doing some street ministry in New Zealand. I was working on starting a radio station down there. It was, what was the name of that station? It was in New Zealand. It was Sunny FM in New Zealand, in Nelson, New Zealand. And I remember ministering to some Mormon missionaries on the street of New Zealand and thinking, wow, I'm here witnessing about God on the streets of New Zealand, down under. And it was a lot of fun. You know, the sunrises and sunsets in New Zealand, in the United States, when the sun sets or sun rises, there's a glow on the horizon where the sun is setting. In New Zealand, it's all the way around the horizon. When the sun sets, you can see it all the way around. It's beautiful, beautiful country. I haven't seen any hobbits yet, but the sunsets and sunrises are absolutely beautiful, as is the ocean and the green grass. So if I show up in front of your house and ask you if you want to go to New Zealand, you probably want to pack your bags. But I'm just really appreciative that Steve and Ronnie are going with us on this trip, because they have such a powerful message in the music that will reach the heart. Now, we're also working on a way that if you want to buy CDs from Steve and Ronnie, working on being able to do that online. We're not quite there yet, but if people want to buy your products, maybe your guitars, you want to have Steve make your guitar, I think we could arrange that. Or buy the CDs.
You can get the CDs here.
You can get the CDs here at Lifesong Books and Gifts.
And they're 20% off right now.
And they're 20% off right now. So the songs you're hearing this morning, you can buy them right here. Get them while they're hot. And there's more songs coming from Steve and Ronnie in the future, so stay tuned. Stay tuned to a computer near you, because the songs are they're on a roll, my friends. They're on a roll. So, Steve, we don't often hear. I'm going to throw a curve your way. We don't often hear from the guitar player. The guitar player just kind of sits there and smiles.
That's the way we like it.
And my guitar does my speaking for me. So, when we talk about New Zealand, what's God putting on your heart? What's going through your mind?
I think for me, we used to play the bars and clubs, and I think that was more or less school for us to learn how to work together in a group, and how to work with a drummer and a bass player, and how to use everybody's strengths to bring something together. And then when we came to the Lord, we decided to we were done, because we were trying to do things on our own, and I don't know where we were trying to go, but trying to make something about playing music. And so now that we've given ourselves to the Lord and just seeking Him out, that's when all these songs started coming. And if we are in a dry spot, if we have kind of relaxed our being engaged with the Lord, the songs don't come.
Really?
And then when we are seeking God, they just come, and through experiences wherever we are. And so now going to New Zealand, I would have never dreamed we could do that.
Well, you got to go now. The tickets are bought.
Yes.
Non-refundable.
I would have never dreamed we could share our music like this. This is awesome.
I'm excited because there's the music that you have. I've lived down there for 9 months, and there's a message in the music that the Campbells have. And the thing that's really cool about it is it's their own music. All the songs they perform, they have written. And they can sing from their heart because they're involving life experiences they've gone through, or their friends have gone through. But there is a tremendous message on their music. So when you hear their music, you're not hearing them singing somebody else's songs that you've heard 1,000 times on the radio. You're hearing a new song. Sing into the Lord a new song. And I'm just really excited about going down under the land of the long white cloud and singing to the Kiwis, our brothers and sisters in the Lord in New Zealand, and just sharing our hearts about God. So we're looking for your help in prayers. If you feel inclined to donate, you can go to our website at evm1.info, tjn1.info, and because we could use a little bit more money would be helpful. But we are very appreciative of everything. Mm-hmm. People have given sacrificially for this trip. The friends and family and a lot of friends here in Prineville of Steve and Ronnie Campbell have really wanted me to go on this trip, and they have really stepped forward. So if you're a friend of Steve and Ronnie, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if you've just caught the vision and want to go with us financially, thank you for doing it. If you want to, if you have not yet had a chance to donate and would like to, please go to those websites and give us some cookie money so we can buy some sandwiches and such while we're over there. Because this has been a walk of faith, and it's something that God's put on my heart for 2 years. We've been praying for this mission trip for a couple of years now, and we're going. And it's only through your generosity that we're able to go. So what we're also asking for, in fact, even more importantly than that, are your prayers.
Yes.
Because nothing happens in the kingdom of God without being covered in prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And we're very aware of that. We're very aware that we're not going to go over there and be super evangelists. We're just going to go over there and be light in darkness and be light to shine Jesus Christ. And you can be light in darkness anywhere. But New Zealand is a country that is not as embracing to the gospel as the United States. In some parts of New Zealand, in fact many parts, it's not super cool to be a Christian. The numbers of people that profess Christianity in New Zealand is less than the United States. And so as we do beach ministry, street ministry, you might say, well, that sounds like a real easy job. It might be kind of interesting at times because it's not a philosophy that's openly embraced by the majority of New Zealanders. Beautiful people, but we want to share with them a beautiful God. So thank you for everything you've done and will do in the future. Continue to hold us up in prayer. We'll be leaving November 1st, coming back November 14th. And while we're over there, we'll be interviewing people. Just go to our website. We'll have some audio, but we'll also have some video interviews. So just go on and you'll be able to see as we're down in down under Cathedral Cove, where they filmed Prince Caspian, or at least the opening segment of it. And there's also a place called Hot Water Beach. Now, Hot Water Beach, you can dig a hole in the sand, and hot water will bubble up from the sand, and you can sit in hot water that's been heated by the earth, and then you can get up from your little pond there and go jump in the ocean. I've never seen any place like it. It's a popular tourist spot. I'm sure there'll be people there because it's just at the beginning of summer in New Zealand. Where we're going into winter, they're going into summer. So there's going to be some tourist opportunities down there. Maybe we'll get a chance to witness to some Americans. And another nice thing about being in New Zealand is there's people from all over the world that come to that country. And we'll have a chance to, you'll have a chance to jam with some musicians and make some new friends, sell some guitars, and we'll just have a lot of fun. But above all, we want to go down there and sing about Jesus. Do we have time for one more song?
You're the boss.
I'm the boss. Oh, that is a scary thought. Let's have one more song if we could.
Okay.
We're gone a little bit overtime here. We're into the Operation Eagle's Wing side of the show, so if you're tuned in for the Eagle, we will have an interview that we done a while back with Chuck Hemingway coming up in just a second, but we want to have one more song from Stephen Runnelly.
So I think we should share the song that why he asked us to go when Jesus found me. This was one of our really early songs. I grew up in a fantasy world, believing in fairy tales, like Snow White and Sleeping Beauty. I knew someday my prince would come. Every night I said my prayer while wishing on a star. Fantasy fades to reality when the white knight didn't come. I thought I was walking in the light of life, but I found I was walking in the darkest night when Jesus found me. Huddled, shaking in the coldness of the night, I couldn't see the darkness till I felt the light when Jesus found me.
tales and wishing wells gave way to the cold hard truth. So my faith in any power, Jesus slipped away with youth. I thought I was walking in the light of life, but I found I was walking in the darkest night when Jesus found me, huddled, shaking in the coldness of the night. I couldn't see the darkness till I felt the light when Jesus found me.
Beautiful, beautiful music. Thank you very much for being with us today. And as we have to model some clothes.
Oh, yes.
Kim Denfield of Lifesong Books and Gifts here in Prineville allows us to use her storefront to broadcast from. We've been here 3 or 4 times already. 20% off everything in the store. And they have a number of beautiful shirts here. Mm-hmm. Steve bought some the other day.
We own several.
Oh.
In fact, that one there in your lap.
This one here with the lion on it. I like the lion. Live your life like there's a lion walking beside of you, and he doesn't want to eat you up. He wants to help you. And this is kind of a gold shirt, kind of a gold-colored shirt with a lion on the front of it. And on the back it says, "The wolf will live with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf and the lion and the yearling together, and a little child will lead them." Isaiah chapter 11, verse 6. Isaiah 11, 6. It's a beautiful, beautiful shirt. 20% off. And we've got also this is a tribal cross. So for the Native Americans, there's a tribal cross here and on the back it says, "You were slain, and with your blood you purchased men for God from every tribe and language, people and nation." Revelation 5:9. That's the tribal cross. And then Ronald Lee is holding up a shirt that says, "Fear no evil." Oh no, this is "He lives." He lives is a cross on the back of it. "With great power the apostles continued to testify to the resurrection of the Lord Jesus, and much grace was upon them all." Love the book of Acts. Acts 4 and 4:33. There is also one, as we talk to a lot of people these days, there's a lot of fear out there because of the economy. Am I going to lose my house? Am I going to lose my job? Am I going to be able to buy food next week? Am I going to go to work today and they're downsizing? And, I was talking to a young man yesterday, and he said, "I'm just hanging on by my fingernails, and every day I come to work, I don't know whether it's going to be my last day on the job." There's a shirt here, the same color as this last one, with this cross on it, and it says, "Fear no evil." Luke 10:19, "I have given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and to overcome all the power of the enemy. Fear no evil." A lot of beautiful items here at Lifesong Books and Gifts at Prineville, and 20% off everything. Cards right behind us.
Jewelry.
And of course Bibles and
children's items.
Children's items.
Yeah.
And more to come from Lifesong Books and Gifts. And just come on down and check the store out. Jewelry and so on and so forth. Any closing thoughts? We'll have you back on the show in the future. In fact, what we need to do is
when we come back.
When we come back, we're going to do a flip cam interview with you in New Zealand.
Oh.
So you'll be on the beach in New Zealand saying hi to everybody in Prineville from the beaches of New Zealand. Good on you, mate.
I do feel slightly guilty about that, but you'll all be with us there in spirit. And again, we just thank everyone so much for their prayer support and their financial support. And it wasn't just Oregon that supported us. We had people from Texas and New York and Washington and Idaho and Montana. And God is just so amazing. And at the concert that you were referring to last Saturday,
yeah.
And just the smattering of people that are there, God's body is alive and active, and He's everywhere, and we're just so excited to meet our brothers and sisters in New Zealand and be able to maybe help other people come to Jesus and know His saving grace. And
you know, down under they say, "Good on you, good on you, good on you, mate." And I mean, great job. And it's been a while since I've been, about 7 years since I've been down there. Looking forward to renewing acquaintances, in-laws, and my friends and in-laws down there, and just looking forward to it and getting reacquainted with the country, a beautiful country, and learn some Kiwi. My wife hates it when I try to sound like a Kiwi. She says, "Honey, just be who you are. Just sound like an American, and quit trying to be a Kiwi." But I love some of the slang phrases down there, like "good on you," and so I'll try a few more phrases on you. When I come back, I'll have a few more to try on you, or maybe down there we'll do some man on the street interviews, and we're going to have some fun interviews. We're going to talk about God, but we're also going to do some interviews just about what's going on in the culture and what's going on down under in New Zealand. So, Steve and Ron Lee, we're always blessed when you come in. We need to talk to Chad about being on the show. Maybe
he would love to. He would love to. Yeah.
Okay.
And he gives lessons and such here in downtown Prineville. You'll see his little sandwich board out on the sidewalk. Just follow it down the alleyway, and you'll see his little door there. So
voice lessons or
everything, voice, piano, anything that has strings on it, drums. Steve gives lessons primarily in stringed instruments.
Okay.
I give some voice lessons, but Chad's the master. He's really good at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he didn't fall too far from the tree, did he? He got some of Mom and Dad's giftings.
Then he just took it to another level. He's amazing. I'm not just saying that because he's my son. Very, very talented.
We'd like to take Chad down to New Zealand as well in the future. So his band is called Unbranded. If you're watching from New Zealand, you'll probably see Chad down there in the future. We need to talk. I asked him, and I think he's interested in going. So I guess we can talk about it. But that's a future trip, of which there will probably be many. And looking forward to coming down to New Zealand. And if you're watching from New Zealand, we love you. Looking forward to sharing some time with you and just living among you for a couple weeks. So, God bless. Thanks for being with us today. And coming up next, we're a little bit behind schedule, like about 20 minutes or so. Forgive us for that. We're going to have a segment now for Operation Eagle's Wings, honoring all veterans and leaving no one behind. And I believe this is an interview we did with Chuck Hemingway of Central Oregon Veterans Outreach a while back, and we want to share that interview with you one more time. So live from Prineville, again, thanks to Kim Denfield of Lifesong Books and Gifts here in Prineville. God bless. Hey, very good morning, and welcome to EVM Media Morning Show, and this portion of the show is what we call Eagle Live. And we take a look at veterans issues as we travel around the state of Oregon. And today, we're back home in Bend, Oregon. It's kind of nice to be home after traveling for a little bit. Nice weather on the Oregon coast. It was raining a bit yesterday. And speaking of weather, there was a little bit of frost out there this morning, isn't there, Chuck?
There is. I had to scrape my windshield for the first time of the season this
Yeah,
morning.
Rite of passage, I guess, as the change of seasons are happening here in Central Oregon. So cold weather is coming, and we're going to talk about that here in just a second. Now, Chuck Hemingway is very active as the director of Central Oregon Veterans Outreach, otherwise known as COVO here in Central Oregon. And they do a lot for the homeless veterans, very active in helping veterans and especially homeless veterans. Chuck, it's a privilege to have you on the show this morning. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
By the way, if you have a question for Chuck, you can call us at 541-323-2882, 541-323-2882, and we'll take your calls live here on the air. So, Chuck, something pretty exciting. We were talking about this yesterday as we were booking you for the show. Specialist Eric Weaver was a soldier with the Oregon National Guard who was actually wounded in combat.
Correct.
Came over here, came back to the United States, and through a turn of events became homeless. And you've actually helped put him in a home.
We're in progress with that. We're very pleased that all the stars have aligned to allow us to put this together. Specialist Weaver was deployed with the 3rd of the 116th Armed Cav, and he returned on September the 8th to Redmond, walked through the airport terminal there, was greeted by his wife, Misty, Autumn, and their 3 little girls. And it was a little bit of a bittersweet homecoming. They were thrilled to have him back, glad that he was safe and sound, but he knew that coming up on October the 1st, they were going to be out of a place to live. They were essentially homeless at that point. She had been living in a one-bedroom place above a garage at his dad's house.
Right.
But the dad's house had been foreclosed on.
A lot of that going on these days.
Yeah. And they were all sleeping in one bed, her and the 3 little girls.
Right.
And then come October the 1st, they had to all be out of the house, including the dad. So they're camping right now. They've been over in the Newport area camping. They're coming back today, and we're going to be signing a lease later today with them that will put them in a 4-bedroom house in the Pine, and get them back to having a place of their own.
It was raining in Newport yesterday. We were in Newport, and it was raining quite a bit. So I would have hated to have been camping there on the Oregon coast.
Well, that's what happens, not just over there, but over here when you're homeless, and you just have to exist with the elements. They took it in good stride. They said, well, if we're going to have to be living in a tent or a car, we'll just go camping. And they knew that when they came back, we were going to try to have this all set up so that we could get them in the house. He's got to go back to La Grande. That's where the unit is based this Saturday for the demobilization ceremony. And then they're going to be coming back Sunday and Monday, moving into the house, and then on Wednesday down in La Pine, we're going to have a formal ribbon cutting on the house that will welcome them officially to La Pine and be we hope a great homecoming.
Great, and we plan on being there, and we'll have video reports. I don't know whether we'll have the internet capability to be able to do it live, but if we can, we will. But we would definitely have a report from there. By the way, speaking of the Oregon coast, at 8 o'clock this morning, we're going to have a tour of the Umpqua River Lighthouse, and you're going to see that. We filmed that a couple days ago, just this week while we were at the Oregon coast. We actually shot video through the light. Rather interesting, so stay tuned for that at 8 o'clock. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock, we're going to have Tom Hickman with the City of Bend, and they're going to talk about proposed water structure improvements. Multi-million-dollar price tag. A lot of people, or many people in Bend, feel that's too much money. We'll be talking to Tom about why the city feels they need to spend that much money on water structure improvement. That's tomorrow on The Pulse, which is the 8 a.m. segment of our morning show. So right now we're talking to Chuck Hemingway of Central Oregon Veterans Outreach. So Specialist Eric Weaver is going to receive the Purple Heart. He was wounded in combat.
Well, he's already received it.
Oh, he's already received it.
Right, and he earned the Combat Infantryman badge. Mm-hmm. This particular unit with the Oregon Guard, percentage-wise, received the highest number of Purple Hearts that any unit in Oregon has received in recent history, and among the highest in the nation for deployed units.
So they saw a lot of action.
They were leading convoys, and so they saw a lot of IEDs and other action.
How does that feel to a returning soldier who's put his life on the line for the country, signed a blank check and payable to the United States for up to and including his life, wounded in battle, and then comes back home and is homeless? I would think they wouldn't feel too happy about that, because they put their lives on the line for the country, and they come back home and the country repays them by allowing them to be homeless.
Right. And he's not just homeless, he's unemployed.
Right.
Which is not an uncommon circumstance. In fact, this particular unit, 31%, according to these statistics we were given, these folks are unemployed when they came back. But it's that level of stress. You go from the stress of being, one, away from your family, and two, subject to hostile fire under all circumstances. and then you're still experiencing that level of stress that's within you somewhere, and then you come back and you have to deal with this other type of stressor, where you're worried about your family, you're worried about where you're going to get your next paycheck, and where your next place to live is going to be. And all of that, we're worried will lead to some increased mental health difficulties for these returning soldiers. And that's what we're trying to do at COVO, is to set in place some preventive mechanisms so that they don't have to deal with some of the things that have come out for our Vietnam veterans and others who've gone through combat back in the first Gulf War.
Yeah. Overall, though, do you believe that we actually are treating the returning veterans better in this war than the Vietnam War?
We've learned a lot of lessons from the Vietnam War, and there has been a pretty good movement led by the Vietnam vets themselves to tell the nation at large, don't let these young soldiers go through what we went through. But it's one heck of an education process, because the new term, I don't know if you've heard this, is that we're one percenters, or he's a one percenter.
What's a one percenter?
A one percenter means that because it's a volunteer army, only 1% of the population ever experiences what it's like to be on active duty in the military, and in particular be called away from home to serve. So 99% of the population out there just learns about it from what people like Specialist Weaver describe, and the fear is that over time, if these conflicts end in Afghanistan and Iraq, and peace returns fully, that the populace will start to forget about what the suffering was like being away from families and being in harm's way. And
it won't be front page on the media or lead story on a newscast.
No. But we want to make sure that people know that these soldiers, men and women, have done a huge service for their country that needs not to be forgotten and protected, actually, with regard to the benefits, given the current budget difficulties that the country's going through.
They're experiencing kind of a perfect storm in that there's less money to help veterans, yet there's more veterans to help.
Right.
And then there's a unique experience set that these veterans are dealing with. Some of them, I've heard stories of some people on their 6th deployment.
Right.
And so in the old days, World War II, Vietnam, where you served your tour of duty and then you were rotated home and somebody else took your place. These soldiers are being sent back in many cases, so they really don't know how many times they're going to be sent back, and the law of averages might catch up with you, and you might come back injured.
And it's a bit of a vicious circle, because some of these soldiers have come back, been unable to find employment back here, and to keep their family afloat have had to volunteer to go back for a second or third tour just to get some income. And that's a tough circumstance to have to deal with, not just being away from your family, but not being able to find a job back where you're home and where your support is.
So this conflict, in some ways, we're charting new ground here. Our soldiers are experiencing something that no other soldier has experienced. Multiple deployments. The explosives that they're dealing with over there are IEDs, which typically can amputate a limb or cause something called TBI, traumatic brain injury. So they usually don't get killed, but they get severely injured by the loss of a limb and brain injury, which, even though you can't see the injury, is significant to the lives of these families. So these young men and women are really experiencing something we haven't gone through before.
Right. And we're trying to do our part at COVO. And I've got to say, the community in Bend is hugely supportive of veterans, and we're fortunate to be in an area of the country that values its veterans. I talk to people all the time from the other side of the mountains on the east side of Oregon, the west side of Oregon, and they tell me that when they come to Bend and see what what support the veterans have here. It's incredible, and they go back to their side of Oregon and wish that they could create what we have here.
Okay, and of course you're open to giving them advice if they want to start something like Central Oregon Veterans Outreach or Coastal Veterans Outreach or Treasure Valley or whatever.
Right. Yep.
Okay, so Specialist Eric Weaver will get a home. Does he know this yet?
Oh yes.
I hope so, because we're telling everybody.
No. He and Misty are well aware of this. She's been a huge advocate for him and for their family. When she first learned of this, of the possible availability of the house, she was at what's called a yellow ribbon event.
Okay.
And that was a pre-return from deployment event that was over at the River House.
Mm-hmm.
That was put on by the Oregon National Guard. And they brought together all the family members of the soldiers that had been deployed and brought them together for a day to let them know, one, the timeline of when they would be coming back, and two, the services that were going to be available for them. And we set up a table over there at that event, and she stopped by and told us about that they were going to be having to move out of the place where they were living, even though they were crammed into this one little room. And so she applied on behalf of Eric, who was still deployed, and when he got back, September the 8th, then we scheduled an interview, and he and Misty and the girls came down to the Pine and met with a representative from the Band of Brothers, Chris Riggs, who operates the community kitchen down in La Pine,
mm-hmm.
and then two members of our board, and they interviewed them, and among the applicants, they were selected.
There's so much need out there. We obviously are helping Eric and his family, but what about the other veterans? We can't help them all. There's a lot of jobless situations out there. There's a lot of veterans coming home. And obviously the employer wants to hold the job open for the veteran, but from the employer's standpoint, it's a lot easier to cut a position from somebody who's not there than go to somebody with a family who is currently here and cut them, hoping that the veteran will return to take the job. And in the meantime, what does the employer do? It's kind of a perfect storm for them as well.
Right.
So what are we doing for other veterans? We can't help them all, or can we?
Well, actually, COVO received a grant in August for a Department of Labor program called the Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program.
How much was the grant?
It was for $196,000. It is allowing us to set up a job training program for homeless veterans or veterans at risk of homelessness. And we've brought on board a program director, Steve Wilkes, and a person we call a resource navigator, plus a jobs training specialist. And what this program is designed to do is go out within the 3 Central Oregon counties here, Deschutes, Crook, and Jefferson, and locate homeless veterans or low-income at-risk veterans, allow them to be enrolled in job training programs, and then identify veteran-friendly employers who would be willing to take these folks on and get them hired. And it's a 1-year grant that we can get extended for 4 more years if we meet some very tough guidelines about getting people back into the workforce.
Yeah.
But we're excited that we're able to do it, and we're actively working to make veterans who are currently unemployed members of the workforce again. We've got 5 people signed up so far. We just started this in September.
Okay, so it's a brand new program.
It's brand new, but we're off and running and excited about this.
How big is the need out there? Obviously, there was a huge deployment that came back. How many are homeless? How many are jobless? How many need help?
Well, it's interesting. A year ago, in May 2010, at Vince Jenna Stadium here in Bend, I think the first of the 82nd Armored Cav came home, 350 people.
I remember that.
And of that 350, when the demobilization ceremony ended, half of them were unemployed. And then the unit that just returned that Specialist Weaver's a part of, 31% of them are unemployed. We're seeing now what I describe as the tip of the iceberg.
Okay.
Some of those of the 350 who came back in May 2010, there are the tough cases. They came back, and within a couple of months, they were living outside or homeless. We're seeing, as time passes, more and more of those are the iceberg is coming up out of the water.
Yeah.
And we're seeing more and more of those as their unemployment benefits run out, and as they can't find a job. So we're seeing an increasing number of younger people coming in with who are veterans, who can't find a job, who have run out of options on being able to pay rent, and are having to live with family, live with friends, live in their car, live in motels, or come to us and get a tent.
I would think that the veteran coming home after putting his life on the line would be just a little bit angry over the situation. You know,
Well,
this isn't fair.
That's not an uncommon reaction.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what often happens is you see an increased incident of domestic violence,
Yeah.
or bar fights, or some other incident where maybe they get pulled over by a policeman for a traffic ticket.
Going too fast. Or,
And get into an argument, and then it escalates from there. And so what we're also trying to do here in Central Oregon is see if we can put together a veterans court where if a veteran comes back who's been experiencing some stressors and is reacting to maybe something that happened to him in combat, that he's not tagged with a criminal conviction or some other mark on his record that's going to keep him later on from being able to get a job or find a place to live, because if they say, hey, on your rental application you've got a criminal conviction. So we're trying to be very proactive in what we're doing to make sure that this generation of veterans is able to not have to go through what the Vietnam veterans went through.
well, thanks for doing that. So the Veterans Court, where are we in the process of that proposal?
We've met with the district attorney, and we've had some planning sessions with that included members of the court administrator's office here in Central Oregon, and we're right now looking at some different models, because there simply is no money to fund a veterans court. And so what we're looking at is possibly setting up a process where perhaps we don't have a formal veterans court, but it can be added to the tail end of another existing court docket. There is a mental health court. There is a specialty court for family matters. There's a family drug court. So there's all these specialty courts, and if they're already in existence, perhaps our thought is we could just add a few veterans cases to the tail end of one of those existing dockets, and until we can come up with the funding to establish a formal veterans court, get it into operation that way. We've got a person who works for parole and probation named Dick Gorby, and he's a very good veterans advocate. I'd recommend him for being a guest on your program.
Okay.
But he's willing to be a what we're calling a veterans justice liaison, where if a veteran is identified who's been arrested and put in jail, we'll go and meet with him, Dick would, find out what's going on. And there's a veterans justice outreach position that's been created at the Portland VA, and that person is working with us, and she will actively intercede through the VA system to see if there's some services that can be obtained for this incarcerated veteran. She and Dick have worked together where we've learned that there's been a veteran in jail who maybe needs alcohol and drug treatment.
Right.
And so they've been able to work it out so that the fellow, upon release, could go directly into treatment, and in return doesn't wind up, they sort of suspend his case and wait to see what what's going to happen if he successfully completes treatment, so that if he does, and when he comes back to this area, he might be able to get the charges dismissed or reduced, or not have to have that bad mark on his record.
Okay. Cold weather's coming up. We mentioned this is the first morning here in Bend, Oregon. We've had to scrape the ice from our windows. It was cold this morning.
Right.
And that brings to mind another problem that's going to happen, not only for veterans but for the homeless here in Central Oregon. It gets cold. If you haven't lived in Central Oregon, it gets cold here in the winter, and they usually try to get through the winter without a homeless person losing their life or losing a limb because of frostbite. We've got a lot of homeless people out there right now, a lot of homeless veterans. So again, we've maybe overusing the term perfect storm here, but we're going to have a challenge this winter, aren't we?
Right. And we thought ahead to that. Last winter was a particularly tough winter and a long winter.
Yes, it was.
And in August, we put together an event known as a Stand Down. We got a little bit of money from the Department of Labor to help us do this, and we went over to Ben's Community Center and had a whole day where we were able to meet with, we met with 65 homeless veterans, and we passed out sleeping bags, tents, warm clothing, hygiene kits, and other gear in anticipation of the upcoming winter. I think we gave out more than 30 tents, a whole bunch of sleeping bags, and we have a stock of cold weather items stored in a warehouse that we're beginning to bring over to our COBO offices so that we can, as people come in seeking cold weather gear, we can pass it out to them. This past week, we've had a run on sleeping bags and tents and warm clothing and socks, particularly, that folks who've been living outside have come by our office to pick up. And our homeless outreach team that goes out every Tuesday in Central Oregon here to visit in the homeless camps, they have seen a run on the stuff that they've had, passing a lot of sleeping bags, tents, warm clothing as well, also boots. So it's winter's upon us, and I think we're prepared. We've got a pretty good supply at this point that we think we can meet the early need. What we're worried about is and we'll be seeking donations for as we get into the heavier months, long about late December or January. Probably our stocks are going to be pretty well lowered, and so if folks out there have tents and sleeping bags and warm clothing and socks and that sort of thing to donate, if they could get in touch with us and arrange to drop it off, we'd love to have it.
Do you have room now for more donations? Are you still stockpiling? Do you have enough room?
Well, we're full at our offices. We're about maxed out there with what we can store, but we have an area at Ben's Community Warehouse, Ben's Community Center's warehouse over in the old mill area, and we have space there. So it's don't not think of bringing us anything because we've run out of space. No, we'll find a place to put it.
So if you want to donate it, bring it. They'll cram it in a corner somewhere.
Right.
Because about January you're going to need it.
Yes.
Okay. It's an issue that we're definitely going to be following here on the networks. On the Jesus Network, it's from 7 to 7:30, and the Veterans Network, especially Eagle Live from 7:30 to 8 here on the networks, because we're kind of concerned, very much concerned. Another issue that we're very concerned about is the issue of suicide. Both from in the veteran standpoint. Were you aware that, and I know Chuck's aware of this, there have been some months where the U.S. military has lost more soldiers to suicide than combat. That's a sobering and staggering statistic because of the emotional trauma and the grief and so on and so forth that these soldiers are dealing with. Suicide is also an issue not only for veterans but for other people in the society that maybe have had six-figure incomes and now are living in their cars.
Mm-hmm.
Life for them in some way has ended because the life that they knew may not come back for quite a while. And so some of these people are making a very rash decision and checking out. It's an issue that we're very aware of, and we're going to be looking at all of the information that we can get out to you here on EVM Media, and I'm very concerned about it. I'm sure you are too.
Well, as a matter of fact, in mid-September, the Veterans Administration in Portland at the hospital there put together a 2-day training program on rural health care, rural mental health care in Sun River. People from all over the state came, and it was just fortuitous. At that conference, a report came out, and they announced it there that the Oregon National Guard has the highest suicide rate of any military organization in the country, and people are scratching their heads and trying to figure out why. And what it comes down to, they're initially discovering is that the soldiers are out there pocketed in rural areas where in the past there hasn't been a lot of support available, mental health support, but also it's the number of deployments that the soldiers have seen that appear to be maybe taking their toll.
Yeah.
There's going to be some further detailed study of why is it that the Oregon National Guard has such high statistics, and a lot of work that's going to be done to try and see if we can halt that. One of the things that we're doing with COVO and an organization that of local veterans organizations called the Central Oregon Veterans Council, is we've been talking with law enforcement officers, Bend, Redmond, Sheriff's Department, and the Vet Center, and the local community outpatient clinic here for the VA, to see about setting up a mentoring program. And this would be if the police or the sheriffs get a call that someone is threatening suicide and they're identified as a veteran, that there would be a roster of people who have been trained to be able to provide some assistance for people contemplating suicide who are veterans, to go to where they are and to be available to talk to them and see if they can assist the law enforcement officers in talking them down and getting them the help that they need, rather than thinking about taking their own life or harming someone else.
Yeah. So, a very serious issue there. And is there any way that the community at large can help? This is a very tragic statistic, and one that we obviously all should want to get involved in to see how we can prevent it.
Well, support our efforts, for one thing, to make folks aware that this is an issue, and be aware themselves of that it's not just necessarily a veterans issue or a military issue, but that just given these economic times and circumstances, there are a lot of people out there suffering, and that just for the good of society at large, learn more about what's going on, and to recognize the signs of someone who is thinking of harming themselves, and be prepared and willing to interact.
Speaking of that, Deschutes County is putting together a suicide prevention program. Suicide is one of the leading causes of death in Oregon. Early recognition of the warning signs and intervention can save lives. There is going to be free suicide prevention trainings offered in 4 locations here in Central Oregon. Tuesday, October 11th at Sisters High School in the Lecture Drama Room. Monday, October 17th at the Redmond Lynch Elementary School. Tuesday, October 18th at Bend Westside Church in the west part of Bend. And by the way, we're trying to get permission to webcast that live at the Westside Church, and we hope we can do that because we really want to get that information out there. I mentioned earlier we're going to do whatever we can to get all the information out there we can. Wednesday, October 19th at the Lapine Senior Center is another place where that is going to be. And this is being put on by Deschutes County Children and Families Commission. And the time is going to be 6 to 7 p.m. in each of those following locations. Again, Tuesday, October 11th, Sisters High School. Monday, October 17th at Redmond Lynch Elementary. Tuesday, October 18th at Bend Westside Church. Wednesday, October 19th at Lapine Senior Center. If you want more information, you can call 541-330-4632. That's 541-330-4632. And more information coming about that, especially if we can webcast this. Now, if we do webcast it and record it, it's available on our website later, and we put everything up on YouTube, so you can refer to that later for if you want to get a refresher or check back out on the information. Chuck, we've got a few minutes left. What are the things we have? There's a lot of things that Covo is interested in, and we definitely want to bring you back on a fairly regular basis to let people know what's going on. What else is on your top 10 list that we need to really touch on?
Well, we were able to get our medical van program off and running as of this past April, and it's been out close to 30 times now. We've been able to take it out pretty much once a week. We alternate between taking it either to Shepherd's House, which is a men's homeless shelter here in Bend, and then the next week to Bethlehem Inn. And then in the afternoons following the morning at either of those locations, we go out to a homeless camp. We've got 8 doctors now who are volunteering to come on board and provide services. 22 nurses and a cadre of about 6 drivers who rotate through and drive the van for us. We're in need of donations of medical supplies, funds to keep the van running with diesel fuel and other equipment. So any support we can get from the community for that is most appreciated. Or if you're a medical provider or a nurse or would be interested in driving, we'd like to get more people helping us out with this, and they can contact us at our offices to learn more about that.
I've heard stories about people that were literally saved, lives were saved. There were people that were probably within hours of having a stroke, right, that the medical van was able to intercede and get them the medical help they needed before they had a stroke.
Right, and the docs and the nurses have documented about 6 cases of that, where if they had not received assistance right then, they either would have wound up in the hospital later in the day or been dead, or would have suffered some very serious medical consequences in the next couple of days or weeks that would have put them in the hospital for a long time.
And if you look at just the dollars and cents of it, preventing something like that is a lot cheaper than the care afterwards.
Yes.
So
yes.
If you just want to look at the dollars and cents and the pragmatic, okay, where can we better spend our money, prevention is penny wise and pound foolish. If you can prevent something from happening like that, it's a lot better than to have that veteran who is homeless in many cases hospitalized, and then everybody else has to pay the bill. So that health van really helps the veterans and also helps all of us in the long run.
It's free, and another important part of it is that they don't just come on board and see a doctor who tells them they got a problem. The doctor is able to write a prescription right there on the spot, and we have set up a system with Shopko and Walmart that the doctors can order off their $4 formularies, and so when they leave the van, they've got a prescription, and they also get a gift card, a $5 gift card that allows them to go to Shopko or Walmart and get that prescription filled. I don't know how many times we've had people who've come to the medical van and they come in and they say, well, yeah, I went to the doctor and he or she gave me a prescription, but I don't have the money to fill it.
Yeah.
And so we're able, as a result of the program that we've initiated, to take care of that. And so if anyone would like to help donate funds to help us offset the cost of those prescriptions, we're spending probably $200 a month to purchase those $5 prescription cards, and so
really?
it's there's a lot of people in need out there that we're able to help. And by the way, with our medical van, in any of the services that we offer, it's not just for veterans. You can't go out into the woods and see somebody who's freezing and say, "Oh, are you a veteran? Oh, I'm not. You're not. So I'm not going to give you a sleeping bag." No. If they're in need, we're going to help them. And so our services on the medical van are for veterans and non-veterans. It's just veterans at large giving back to the community.
Okay. If people don't have money but would like to help, do you have the need for volunteers answering phones, etc.?
We do. We have an everyday need for that. We operate largely on volunteer efforts. We had two folks who help us out this week. Like, for example, yesterday, 2 people were sick. And so we were scrambling around the office trying to go back in the back and grab sleeping bags and camping gear and answer the phones and just do what you need to do to keep the office running. And we sure could have used some volunteers yesterday.
Okay. So if people want to help, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, our physical address is 117 Northwest Lafayette.
Which is a new location. You've been in that location 4 or 5 months?
Since May. Okay. But our phone number didn't change. The phone number is still 541-383-2793. That's 541-283-2793. And we have a website that's www.covo-us.org.
Okay. Chuck, we want to have you back again. Thanks for being with us on the show. I know you're really busy, but we really want to keep on top of what's going on with veterans here in Central Oregon and do our little part and get the information out there.
Thank you.
And also, by the way, Eagle Live goes around the state, and we've been in Ontario, Coos Bay, North Bend. We will be going to Newport. We also are looking forward to going to Salem. And when we go to Salem, we want to talk to legislators and the people in the state officials and see what's going on and how the state agencies can help. So we're looking forward to doing that as well in the months to come here on Eagle Live and the various networks we have here. So Chuck, thank you for all you do. I just want to mention that we really appreciate it. I know the veterans do. And you guys are busy. Sometimes it's really hard to get a hold of you because you got somebody in your office and 3 people waiting.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting, and we're thrilled that we're able to provide some service to the veteran community and to others who are hurting in these times here in Central Oregon. Thanks for the opportunity to be here.
Oh, we'd love to have you back. So if you want to really help veterans, COVO is a great organization. I've seen firsthand what they do, and please support them because they do a great job. Hey, and we are live here in Prineville once again at Lifesong Books and Gifts. And again, our thank you to Kim Denfeld for allowing us to do this. By the way, we're going to be very busy today. We're going to be kind of all over the place in Bend. There's a Bend Venture Conference going on. It's a 2-day event where investors come in and look at different ideas to invest in. You might see the birth of some new companies today. It's the Bend Venture Conference at the Tower Theater in Bend, and they're going to be giving some monetary awards to some of these people with visions, some with dreams. And we are going to be having a report from there. We're also going to be live at Bend City Hall tonight at 6. Bruce Hanna, the co-chair of the Oregon House, and Jason Conger, a local Central Oregon representative, will be having a town hall and talking about what's happened in the last legislative session and what their priorities are in the upcoming legislative session. We'll be webcasting that live. Of course, tonight we'll have the End Time and Prophecy teaching tonight at 7 at our building at EVM Ministries at Butler Market and Boyd Acres. So the town hall with Jason Conger and Bruce Hanna starts at 6. We'll carry that from 6 to 7, and right at 7 we'll switch to the teaching with End Times and Prophecy. The town hall at Bend City Hall will be from 6 to 7:30, but we're going to carry the first hour of it from 6 to 7. So we're going to be out and about today. If you miss it live, you can check it on our website at tjn1.tv, eagle1.tv, or evmpulse.tv. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch you later on today. I'm Dave Adams. This is a production of Ephesian Vision Ministries and EVM Media. Have a great day.